For over 100 years, the Butler County Humane Society has cared for and placed into loving homes the area's abused, neglected, and abandoned animals. Our No-Kill initiative was started in 2000 with a commitment of the board, our staff, and our community. As we are a non-profit, non-tax supported facility, the BCHS is dependent on private donations for survival. We hope you enjoy this episode of Critter Corner and bring your entire family to visit us here at the Butler County Humane Society.
While Oakley can appear to be a lot to handle while in his kennel, putting on a strong, tough guy act, he can be a completely different dog when out of his cage. Admittedly, he is slow to warm up to new people, but once comfortable with you, he's a real Casanova. He's also on the spunky side, enjoying leash walks, playing with toys, and romping around with some of the other dogs in the fenced-in yards. However, due to him being initially shy, he would do best in a home without kids or cats, as he can get too overzealous with them. At 9 years old, Gershwin is a laid-back boy who enjoys the finer things in life, like a relaxing afternoon watching the world go by out the window, or a short snooze in a patch of sunshine. He also enjoys a nice grooming session, being brushed from head to tail, or giving himself a manicure by scratching on the cardboard scratching posts. Although he's fine around most kids, he would do best in a home without other pets. After being adopted, 4-year-old Blake was returned when he proved too much for the older couple he was living with. While not considered to be high energy, he's still an active boy that bounces with enthusiasm upon seeing people he knows, making it 4 to 5 feet in the air. He is also active enough and knows his commands well enough to potentially be a walking or jogging partner. As far as Blake's overall disposition goes, he's smart with an independent streak, making him best suited for a home without kids. And since he doesn't seem to enjoy the company of other animals, he should be an only pet. At 3 years old, Rochelle is still behaving like a younger kitten. She is active and playful, even more so when she's able to roll around in one of her favorite things, catnip. Although she's not much of a lap cat, preferring to have all 4 paws on the ground when possible, she still enjoys receiving attention by getting pet from head to tail. Rochelle would fit well into most homes, with or without other pets or kids, just as long as the kids don't try to tote her around the house. 6-year-old Pretty Girl lived the life until her owner found herself in an unstable living situation and had to make the tough decision to surrender her to the Butler County Humane Society. A registered emotional therapy dog, Pretty Girl has a laid-back, easygoing outlook on life. Since she lived with another dog and children previously, she has grown accustomed to their presence and doesn't mind having them around, just as long as they aren't too rowdy. Due to this, Pretty Girl would likely fit into most homes. Arriving as a stray in May of 2013, 4-year-old Ashley adjusted quickly to shelter life and has been patiently awaiting the right family to adopt her. She's often seen sitting at the window in the cat socialization room where she loves to perch on the cat tree, watching the world outside. While staff knows her to be a gentle, kind soul, Ashley has a little trouble making new friends after watching people come and go so frequently over the years, and can come off a little shy initially. Due to this, she'd be happiest in a quiet family with older children that share her mellow outlook on life. Upon arriving as a stray, Harrington was in rough shape. He was covered head to toe in abrasions that vets believed were caused by a run-in with a car. Starting off weak and emaciated, Harrington was turned into a strong, happy boy that loves to be loved. He wiggles in excitement so forcefully that sometimes he loses control of his back end, giving the appearance of having a mind of its own. Due to his overall size and energy, a home with bigger kids would be the best fit, and he would likely do well with other dogs that can match his size and vigor. Are you cleaning out the attic? The Butler County Humane Society is accepting donations for our elegant junk sale during our Fall Fest on Saturday, October 1st from noon to 4 p.m. Along with the elegant junk sale, there will be games, food, pumpkin carving contest, and a s'more station. Don't forget to sign your animal up for Picasso. Let your animal be an artist for the day. Your furry friend can walk across a canvas to create their masterpiece. We have 10 spots at $150 each. The spots will go quickly. Call 724-789-1150 to sign up. Abandoned in a box at a local park, 2-year-old Gibby arrived at the shelter with dreams of finding a better future. Initially very angry and resentful due to her previous situation, Gibby has slowly learned to trust again. She's adjusting well to shelter life and enjoys to sit on her cat perch, watching the world through the window. Gibby is the type of cat that chooses her companions carefully, instantly becoming affectionate, laid-back cat with those that she likes. Looking for a quiet home where she can take things at her own pace, Gibby would prefer a household without other cats or children. 3-year-old Izzy was adopted briefly from the shelter and found herself back after the other animals in the home weren't getting along. A peppy girl with a true love of water, she often tries to help staff in the morning by splashing in the kiddie pools while they're being filled and dunking her head into the water buckets. She's friendly and outgoing, and she gets excited when asked to go for a walk, making her a perfect companion for someone who wants a jogging buddy or likes to take long walks. Izzy might be too much for smaller or younger kids due to her energy and level of play and would do best as an only pet. 3-year-old Willow was understandably shy and reserved when she first arrived, as she was severely matted and had to have most of her fur shaved off. Though she's come out of her shell with staff, showing us that she can be playful and friendly, she can still be hesitant around people she doesn't know. She'll allow herself to be petted for a brief amount of time, then, as though she realizes she doesn't know you well enough, she will sometimes give you the cold shoulder. Willow's ideal home would be one that would allow her time to adjust and wouldn't have young kids, as she prefers not to be picked up. Adopted over 2 years ago, 5-year-old Luger was returned to the shelter when his owners no longer had enough time to devote to him. While he can come across as overly rambunctious while in his kennel, Luger is worth the time to see in a social space where he can reveal his true disposition, an easygoing lover. While Luger could settle in well with kids of most ages, he would do best in a home with no other animals, as he prefers all your attention for himself. Found as a stray, 1.5-year-old Momma has already had a litter of kittens and watched as they all went to good homes. Now she's patiently waiting for it to be her turn. After dealing with her rambunctious babies, she understandably prefers to have some peace and quiet, so a home without young kids and other cats would be ideal for her. Affectionate overall, she'll let you know when she wants attention and when she's had enough, showing off her catitude side. When she was no longer wanted by her previous owners, 3-year-old Lexi was surrendered to the shelter with her litter of puppies, all since being adopted. Starting off shy, Lexi quickly settled into the routine of the shelter, and she looks to really be enjoying herself now. And it's no surprise since she has an ever-growing list of friends, both human and canine, as she's definitely a people person. Since Lexi is such a sweet, outgoing girl, she would fit well into most homes with most ages of kids, just as long as there are no cats. Pensive and relaxed, 3-year-old Titus is a wonderful balance of mellow and active. However, he wasn't always this way, starting off as a scared and uncertain kitten, and he is still working on coming out of his shell with new people. Surrendered to the shelter when he was shy of a year old with his brother, his former house had too many pets. This means he didn't get much human interaction as a kitten. However, he has made great strides and can be a snuggler when the mood strikes. Titus has also made several feline and canine friends, but is sometimes skittish with young kids. Mia, a 2.5-year-old, still has plenty of puppy energy left. She frequently has a playmate that she runs around with in the fenced-in yards and enjoys chasing after toys, too. While she does well with most dogs, she doesn't play well with cats. Originally a stray, Mia was briefly adopted and returned due to being very wary of strangers. Due to this, she would do best in a quiet environment without small children, so she can settle in and feel secure, allowing her to be the sweetheart that staff and her volunteer friends know her to be. 3-year-old Tootsy is as unique as her name, with a style and a way about her that's all her own. Though she initially comes across on the shy side, she usually won't object to being picked up and doesn't mind some time curled up on your lap for a brush or a cheek massage. She does well with other cats, though she often allows them to take the lead, hanging back and watching what they do first. Since arriving as a stray, staff has noticed that she's shocked by a sudden change in environment, but settles into routines well. This means that Tootsy would do best in a quieter home, and that she'll need a bit of patience upon adoption until she becomes comfortable with a new daily schedule. Sage, a giant 3-year-old, arrived to the shelter as a stray. Initially, she was nervous, uncertain of what was going on around her, and while she's sometimes apprehensive of new faces, she has settled into the routine of the shelter and is now showing her true personality, happy, spunky, and affectionate. Though on the larger side, she's gentle with people and loves to play, but she especially loves to play with other dogs. Due to her overall sweet nature, Sage would fit well into most home environments. Energetic and curious, 3-year-old Tyler is quite the comical character. However, he wasn't always this way, starting off as a scared and uncertain cat, and he has continued coming out of his shell more every day. Surrendered to the shelter when he was shy of just a year old with his brother, his former house had too many pets. This means he didn't get a ton of human interaction, but thanks to staff and volunteers, he has learned to enjoy your company and affection. When the mood strikes, he likes to be held and enjoys to romp and play with you, as well as fellow felines and dogs, but he would still do best with older kids. Surrendered to the shelter when she began playing too roughly with the household cat, 7-year-old Aura didn't take any time at all to adjust to her new surroundings. Happy and easygoing, she's often seen with a smile on her face and greets everyone she meets with a friendly wag of her tail. In her former home, she lived with several kids and was very good with them. The same is true of her now, and she's even gone to and done fantastic at some of our off-site events. Since she's learned most of her basic commands and has such a great disposition, she would do well in most home environments, but would do best without cats. 9-year-old Zoey found herself at the shelter when a family member developed allergies. However, that hasn't dampened her spirits as she's as social and outgoing as ever. Not one to shy away from people or food, she's a big girl with a big heart that doesn't mind being picked up, held, or petted. But sometimes she can be overly zealous when it comes to showing her affection and gives little love bites, making her best suited for a home with older kids. Since she plays with other cats at the shelter, she wouldn't mind sharing her home with them. However, she does not appreciate the company of dogs. At 7 years old, Jada was found wandering as a stray and brought to the shelter. Understandably, she was fearful at first and didn't know what to make of her situation. Now she knows that staff and volunteers are there to make her feel safe and happy, showing everyone what a laid-back love she can be. Jada continues to come out of her shell more and more each day. However, she is still fearful around sudden noises and movements, making her best suited to a home with older, calmer kids. But she has all the potential to get along with other animals. Arriving as a stray in June 2012, Carmel grew from a young kitten into a 4-year-old adult at the shelter. Kennel life has taught her how to be independent and rely on herself, though it was obvious she had a mind of her own from the very beginning. While she appears subdued while in her cage, once she's out in the cat socialization room, she loves to run around and play keep away with the shelter staff. She's been known to play fetch from time to time with a toy mouse, carrying it back to her chosen human companion so that it can throw it again. Since she's uncertain with new faces, she'd do best in a home with older kids. After her owners went through a separation, 4-year-old Ruby found herself surrendered to the shelter. In her previous home, she lived with kids, a cat, and another dog, though she did want to chase the cat, making her best suited to a home without felines. A delightful girl, she's obviously excited to meet and greet just about everyone she sees at the shelter, matching what the owners said about her being a sweet and affectionate dog. Ruby is on the larger side, but due to her gentleness and outgoing nature, she would likely settle well into most home environments. An older girl at just around 7 years, Lily is fairly laid back, taking leisurely strolls around the socialization room. She doesn't mind the company of other cats, as long as they aren't overly rambunctious, and the same is true of kids. If they're older and on the calmer side, she likely wouldn't mind sharing her home with them. Overall social, she does have her catitude moments where she would prefer some time to herself, though will quickly settle down and return to being a friendly kitty once again. Surrendered to the shelter due to the health of his owner, 10-year-old Tucker was understandably confused about his situation. However, he took little to no time to make new friends at the shelter and settled into the routine of shelter life well. According to his previous owners, Tucker grew up with 2 kids, now well into their teens, and he lived with other dogs. Despite this, Tucker is apprehensive of some larger breeds at first, but has all the potential to adjust to most home environments, with or without other pets or kids. 3-year-old long-haired Dalaney arrived to the shelter with severe mats in her fur. After some TLC and a grooming session, she was looking and surely feeling much better. A lazy girl who prefers to lounge around, she can come across as aloof at times due to her independent streak. However, she's friendly with those she knows well, enjoying a gentle cheek rub or a scratch behind the ears. Dalaney would prefer a home without young kids, especially since she likes to keep all 4 paws on the ground, but could do well with some other pets. Found as a stray, 2-year-old Iris took no time to settle into life at the shelter and quickly garnered many admirers due to her charming hound looks. However, it isn't merely her appearance that won everyone over. Despite being shy initially, she quickly showed off her amiable, easygoing nature. Iris still has some puppy play left in her, enjoying most kinds of toys, making her an excellent playmate for most kids of all ages. 4-year-old Lyric may not be as vocal as her name suggests, but she's sure to sing your praises if you adopt her. A well-balanced girl, she's both active and laid back. First, she will run around the socialization room, trying to catch anything that moves, until she wears herself out. Then she will gladly lounge around while watching the world go by, while you massage her cheeks or gently brush her. Lyric gets along well with most other cats, but would do best with older kids as she doesn't always like to be picked up. Transferred from a shelter in West Virginia, 3-year-old Spot has proven to be quite the intelligent boy, keeping staff on their toes. While he doesn't appear to enjoy spending time in his kennel, mainly due to the fact that he's able to climb out and bounces and barks a lot, he's a calmer, well-mannered man while outside of his cage. He knows several commands and walks well on leashes. He's also quite the sweetheart, oftentimes wanting to sit on your lap to give kisses. Spot has the potential to fit in well in most home environments with children over the age of 10, just as long as there are no cats. Adopted and then returned after some time due to the health of his owner, 13-year-old Smokey certainly doesn't act his age. He may not be a pounce-and-play kitten, but he still has plenty of pep, especially when it's feeding time. While he's a friendly, generally outgoing man, Smokey would prefer a home without other pets, and also one with older kids, or kids on the calmer side, so he can relax during his golden years. A happy, spunky boy, Snooter loved life at the shelter the moment he arrived, mainly because he was provided with more toys than he ever knew what to do with. An amazing fetcher, he will enthusiastically chase after anything you throw, then drop it into your lap in the hopes that you'll throw it again. Snooter is also exceedingly smart. He knows how to climb and is good with many of his commands. While he's a sweet boy, his focus on toys make him best suited in a home with older kids and no cats. But he could do well with other dogs. An 8-year-old Looker, Monkey was surrendered to the shelter, already front declawed, when the kids in the home proved to be too much for her to handle. While she would sleep with the kids in their beds overnight, she mainly went into hiding during the day in secluded areas where it was quiet and calm. That would be Monkey's ideal home, one that's quiet and calm, where she can let her personality shine and show her adult companions what a nice girl she can be. In addition to a home without kids, Monkey would also do best without other pets, as they can stretch her out just too much. At 3 years old, Dapple is a petite girl, but she has a big, welcoming heart. Starting off nervous upon arriving at the shelter, she slowly came out of her shell with the help of other more outgoing cats. After that, it was her turn. She took newer, scared cats and helped them to settle in faster. With people, Dapple can be shy to warm up, but once she knows you, she will greet you with the cutest of meows and begin to rub on your leg, hoping for some affection in return. Every now and then, she reverts back to that shy girl when too much activity is going on around her, making Dapple best suited to a home with older kids on the calmer side. Does your dog like to swim? Sunday, September 11th is the Doggy Paddle Pool Party at Alameda Water Park from 1 to 4:30 p.m. You must show a rabies certificate and vaccination records for entry. $10 per canine and 50% of all the proceeds go to the Butler County Humane Society. Get ready for the longest jump contest that starts at 2 p.m. Unlike Pandora's box, this 4-year-old girl is full of nothing but love. Arriving at the shelter as a stray, Pandora has never shown an aversion to people. In fact, she will usually start rubbing on your leg in greeting, showing you that she wants some of your attention. Since her arrival, she has gotten along with several other cats, though she would need one that won't roughhouse too much. The same is true of people, as she prefers calm kids that will handle her gently, making Pandora a well-rounded addition to most homes, with or without kids or other pets. Arriving at the shelter as a stray, 2-year-old Betsy is understandably scared after facing the unknown alone. While a sweet and friendly girl, she's often found curled up comfortably in her cage where she feels most secure. There, she happily accepts affection and will even reciprocate with a slight purr. During the brief time that she ventured out into the open, she prefers the heights of the cat condos or a dose of catnip to boost her confidence. It could just be that the hustle and bustle of shelter life is a lot for her to handle, but staff would recommend a calmer home environment for Betsy, where she could come out of her shell more, possibly with another cat. 3-year-old Dunston was transferred from another shelter when the Butler County Humane Society had available kennel space. A handsome man, he is excited to meet new faces and makes friends quickly. While he initially seemed to be standoffish towards other dogs, once he settled into his new environment, he happily and enthusiastically made friends with several canines. However, Dunston doesn't always like to share his food, so he would need to be fed separately, and this would also make him best suited for older kids. At 4 years old, nobody told Chester that he isn't a puppy anymore. Transferred from a shelter in West Virginia, Chester instantly showed off staff and volunteers what an outgoing, lively man he is. While he's much better behaved than a puppy, already working on leash manners and commands, he still has that same spirit, wanting to be close to his companions, playing with toys, or romping with other dogs. Chester would likely do best with larger-sized kids, but is friendly with all ages. He would also do best in a home without cats, although he would enjoy another dog to play with. 6-year-old Louise is a rambunctious and spirited lady that spent her entire life here at the shelter. Though she arrived at our shelter in June of 2010 as a young kitten, she was somehow overlooked by visitors, and she is continuing to wait patiently for her forever home. Very playful, with a love of catnip, Louise can be described as a forever kitten, refusing to act her age. Instead, she chases after a multitude of toys, but she can sometimes get lost in the game and play a little bit rough, making her best suited for a household with older children and no other cats.